Monterey's first festival was a success, even with its occasional airplane. It wrapped without debt or disaster. Co-founders Lyons and Gleason made one of the wisest moves in the festival's history when they asked the Modern Jazz Quartet's pianist John Lewis to be their musical director. It's a post he proudly held for the next 20 years.
After the last night of those 3 days at the first festival, they had a meeting with Jimmy Lyons, Ralph Gleason, and myself. So we talked during that time about ways to take and make the festival into a festival and to a musical festival that both musicians and patrons could enjoy.
John Lewis is a perfect musical director for anything of that type. He set his own standard, which is very high. He and Thelonious Monk had the highest standards of any two people I've ever known.
Mr. John Lewis. John Lewis, ladies and gentlemen.
Because Jimmy was a friend and so forth, I didn't mind telling him and Ralph Gleason what I thought was not going to work, because it didn't work other places with the programming.
In the words of Ralph Gleason, Monterey became the only jazz festival that gave the musician a voice in planning, preparation, and programming. Together, the two founders and Lewis played a major role in assuring the festival's future success.
Along with a lot of other people from the community who have kicked in and spent a lot of time and effort on this.
It was also unique in the sense that it was a non-profit festival and a civic festival, which I thought was a good idea, that in that way that it belongs to the city and not just to some promoter, which I still think is a fine idea.
As with any organization, key staff figures began to emerge. One of the first was Paul Virigay, who at station KGO-TV in San Francisco had befriended Jimmy Lyons and on occasion worked with him as a producer.
So he said, my friends tell me that when I'm on television, I always look better when I'm on KGO. And they say it has to do with the lighting. How would I get lighting like this for this festival I'm going to start? And I thought, well, I think if you asked me and my friend Milt to come down and do it, it'd probably work. So we did, and here we are.
Darlene Chen was a very, very influential person. She started out as a student coming here, the way the performers, some of these kids, and somebody was smoking a cigarette and got it too close to her hair.
And all of a sudden, I just felt my hair getting hot. And it turned out in those days you could smoke there. So it turned out the guy behind me was smoking and then accidentally, or I don't know, flicked his ashes on my hair. And so it started a fire, or my hair started to get on fire. So all these ushers came running to me and everything. So that was my introduction to my first jazz festival. So I saw the ushers, and the ushers had been very helpful, and they all seemed to be like a family. So I decided I was going to be an usher.
Darlene quickly rose from usher to office worker to being Jimmy Lyons' right-hand person. She was a key figure in the festival's early days.
In the old days, we did it all. I mean, there were just a few of us, but we didn't know any better. I mean, so we would do everything. I mean, we'd put the toilet paper in the toilets. We'd be, taking artists, driving them back and forth. There weren't many of us, and so we didn't know any better. That was really it was the beginning of festivals, the concept of festivals, period.
David Murray is the third disciple who was a driver, and now he's the production coordinator.
Y'all remember that you came over. One day you were here, the next day you were in a plane going back to LA to record.
Yeah.
Next day she's back, goes back to the plane to do the recording, and then out on the stage on Sunday.
It was amazing.
So people started out in humble capacities, just lent their services, and it became a kind of family as it went along. A very strong family.
Jimmy Lyons called the audience, the musicians, all my family. did he mean by that?
He meant people who were very, very close to him, people who were special to him, and people that he always looked forward to seeing each year. And every time the festival was finished at the end of the year, he would say, put it in your book for next year. And I could invariably just count on that happening, you know, each year at the end of one festival. I know this time next year I'm going to be back in Monterey for the Jazz Festival. So I literally built my itinerary around the Monterey Jazz Festival.